The next type of attacks I want to discuss are what I call trips. And there's two basic kinds, or at least I'm going to divide them up into two different basic kind of trips. Those that involve trips on the outside, I'm going to step to the outside of Kolby, and those that are going to involve me stepping to the inside. So first I'm going to discuss a series of trips from the outside where I control the upper body. And when we do the inside trips, we'll be controlling the upper body too, but in a different kind of way. Okay, so we're going to conceptualize these as two different groups of attacks based upon whether I'm tripping to the outside or trying to come inside to the outside. The first principle in terms of the outside trips. What I'm going to try to do is I want to be able to get, ultimately, my ankle to my partner's ankle and my knee to his knee. I'm going to try to get ankle to ankle, knee to knee in here. I also somehow or another need to be controlling the upper body, and we're going to say that the root is going to be the over and underhook. Okay? We'll talk about a couple other variations. All of them have the same purpose in terms of controlling the upper body, but just with somewhat different grips. But the root is going to be the over and underhook. Now, this type of an attack, what I want to do is I'm going to take it in the same line as I'm facing my opponent. So if Kolby's facing this way and I'm facing directly out in front here, what I'm going to do, the direction of this attack is going to be step. And you'll notice at this point I'm ankle to ankle, knee to knee. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my body such that I'm facing 90 degrees different now, facing directly into the camera now. But my attack is going to continue to be in that direction. I'm not going to be like this, facing Kolby, trying to trip and driving in that direction. And that's a very crucial distinction. When I step, I change my attack or my angle 90 degrees. I was facing this way, now I'm facing this way, even though the motion and the attack continues in this way. So I'm going to step, change my angle, and continue in that motion continuously. Now, to do that, what's crucial is for me to load the weight up on the leg that I'm tripping or blocking. I do that by stepping right basically at Kolby's heel here. I kind of pinch my knee in a little bit too, like this. I almost kind of try to buckle his knee slightly with my knee here, like this. So when I step, I kind of push in a little bit like that. I step in, this knee comes in slightly, and that's going to kind of put a little pressure in on his knee. Next, what I want to do is I want to keep this side up. All things being equal, I'm going to be trying to jack this side up higher than this side. And indeed, what I'm trying to do is lift this side up, and I'm going to keep weight on this side, like this here. So I'm lifting this side up, my underhook side, the opposite side that I'm attacking the leg. The overhook side, which is the same side of the leg I'm attacking, is going to be down here. Okay? Notice too, I want to keep my legs not far apart, but pretty close together next to his legs. And again, this isn't a position I'm going to be staying in. This is all going to be dynamic movement, but just to kind of break it down. Notice again, I'm 90 degrees different than I was, but my attack is going to be in this direction. I'm not going to throw this. You can. I can step, and I can give a hip pop. I frankly think it's more efficient to just crank down on the arm here, lift this up, and fall. And when I fall, continuing in that direction, because of my momentum, I will typically land on top of Kolby, for example. You'll notice, as I move in, I step, pop, pull down here. This is coming up. Kolby is very close to me here. He's in tight to me. I don't want space. I want to keep his upper body sealed to my upper body, pinching with both of my legs. And now by falling, he's got no post here. Also, to notice I look in this direction. I'm not looking this way. I'm looking the direction I'm falling. I continue to look that way. Momentum will bring me on top of Kolby. I'm looking down. Now, a mistake some people make when they're practicing this is they kind of bail out. I want to stay upright the whole time. I step, and you'll notice here my body stays pretty upright even as I fall. I'm cranking the arm up here, pulling it down here. I'm looking here. I don't do this. Step, and then I'm kind of bailing out by kind of squatting or kind of looking down like that. I want to stay outstretched the whole way. I'm keeping lots of contact with Kolby's body. My ankle to his ankle, knee to his knee. My other leg is close to his leg. I'm really a lot of contact and friction on our upper bodies. I'm pulling him in tight, so I'm controlling his upper body. Make his upper body and lower body stuck to mine so that when I fall, as one, we'll both fall together, and momentum again will take me on top of him. Remember to look the direction you're going in. That's important. Don't get nervous about where you're landing and shy away. That's no good. You got to look, because as you look, your body is going to start to rotate that way. That's true with pretty much all the throws. The direction you look is pretty much the direction you're going to tend to go in. Notice, when I secure this lock up top on Kolby, I'm trying to lift him up high as opposed to pulling his body down low. When I step, I want to be drawing him up. Okay, even though this side's cranking down, ultimately I want his body to be coming up. I do not want to be trying to squish him down and keeping his chest low. I'm trying to get his chest up as high as I can relative to my chest. Okay, that's important. So when I step, I'm kind of, especially on this underhook side, lifting him up. Even though I'm trying to keep weight on the leg that I'm blocking, it's important that he's fairly high up and he's not squatting. Because naturally, if I get him up right here and I block his leg, he's got less movement or less ability to defend. Whereas if he's a little more squat here, he's going to be able to move his leg a little better to defend. So when I'm going to try to jack him up so that he's up right here, even though the weight's down. Okay, and I do that by really tugging up on that underhook side, sucking him up my chest this way. And that's a crucial thing, I think, as you're practicing this type of technique. So when I come into it, I'm never doing this. Like I step in. Now notice if I push into his hips are farther away. If I jack him up, what happens? His hips tend to come in. If I jack him up here, there's a tendency for his hips to come in, and I want contact with his hips as I do this. If I don't have Kolby as an underhook, especially like as he's digging in, I can block, and now I can't get back in because typically when I'm going to try to do this, if we're pummeling here, he's coming up, and I hop. And I hop over, and I continue the attack or the throw. That's pretty much the situation. Pummeling, pummeling, pummeling. As he's pummeling on one side, and I'm always resisting, so he's digging here. He's coming in with this underhook here. He's coming in, and I notice he's pushing in pretty hard. I'm getting in pretty good. I hop, and I get this position here, and I continue the motion. That, for me at least, is the typical situation that this arises in from pummeling. You'll notice as I'm pummeling in, and Kolby hits me with that underhook side, and I clamp down on the underhook, and I'm piercing through or threading my underhook. I'm simultaneously stepping in, so I'm not getting the grip and then stepping. I'm launching right into that step as I secure my over and under position. Now, the next grip. Sometimes when Kolby's digging in here, he's not going to let me get that underhook. And he's being really tough in here. So I can't thread through this way. Especially too if he's got a good underhook and he's beating me in here. What I can do is as he's digging through, I can just come up to his head. The purpose is basically the same. From here I'm just basically trying, instead of having him like this, I'm going to have his head here. I'm going to pull his head to me, head to head. Control this overhook here. I'm sucking him in, so I'm isolating and controlling his upper body, keeping his head close to me just like I did when I had the underhook, but I don't have an underhook now. I've got his head. foot position is still the same. The rest of the mechanics are still the same. Again, because I'm taking Kolby to this side, I'm isolating this post. So actually having an underhook is not really that critical. I can have Kolby's head and it will be equally as effective. So one situation was when I was able to get the underhook. The next situation is I couldn't get the underhook. Kolby's digging the underhook, boom, I'm going to go over top the head. Same mechanics though. So as we're going back and forth here, Kolby's digging in, I can't dig in, I'm not going to let him. And I step. Again, the position is to step. I want to secure his head. I'm not pulling it down. I'm kind of pulling it up like up. Because again, just like before, I was trying to jack this side up and suck him up high into my chest. From here, pinch with my knee a little bit. Notice we're kind of head to head here. From here, and I'm going to kind of fall back. You'll notice too, as I'm doing this, I try to keep the body, the head to my toes, basically having a lot of contact with Kolby throughout that attack once I've actually secured that grip. So when I start to throw, I want to keep my contact throughout that throw until we hit the ground. The third grip I want to talk about, and it's the least favorite of the ones in terms of what I like to do, and in part because I don't think this is the greatest small man's move. But if you have double underhooks, you can do the same type of thing. Okay, the same type of an attack. Problem is when Kolby is taller than I am, or in other words, if I have an opponent that's taller than myself, the problem is it's hard for me to keep this underhook side such that I can keep his arm jacked up, which is what I want to do if I'm in here. If he can pull his arm down, as we come down, he can post. Now, if Kolby, come down a little bit, Kolby's about more like my height. If Kolby was roughly my height, I could grab him up here, and notice the angle that I have. Notice we're roughly equal in height, if I get an underhook such that I can jack his arm up with my shoulder, with my deltoids up here. Here. Now I can go for it. Because his post is not going to be effective from this situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have double underhooks. I'm going to lock high and I'm going to try to get his arms at an angle above 90 degrees. At that point his post will be ineffective. If he's able to clamp down at all, either because my position isn't good or what would happen frequently, especially against me, is my opponent's taller and it's just not a problem because this mechanical difference in height makes it easy for them to keep their weight down because I just can't get up high enough. Okay? If they can pull this arm down past 90 degrees, they're going to be able to post to the side that they're coming down on. And at that point, I may not end up on top of them. So that's the risk with this move. Again, I think it's better when you're roughly the same size or even taller than your opponent. Now, Kolby, for example, could do this probably pretty well on me because now I've got no post as long as he keeps this jacked up. And so he can attack that same type of maneuver, that ankle to ankle, knee to knee. He's going to suck it up high and tight. It's crucial that he puts, or tries to put, or I'm trying to put my opponent's deltoids right against his ears. So I'm not just going to go in with a double underhook like this where I'm kind of low on the back or low on the body. It's crucial that I'm up here as high as I can get. I'm going to get up as high as I can get with my grip as I come down. And you'll notice here I'm trying to jam and drive his arm up past 90 degrees. If it's below 90 degrees, he can block on the way down. If it's above 90 degrees, that's very difficult for him to block on the way down.